Hello everyone, Jane Galena here, also known as Airplane Jane. In today's video, I wanted to talk to you about real estate investing in 2021. One of the multiple different hats that I used to wear was a real estate agent as well as a mortgage loan officer back in Philadelphia in 2008 during the last real estate implosion of the US. But before I get into that, if you guys are brand new to my channel, please go ahead and like that video, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you get amazing videos like this one when I do release them. All right, let's talk a little bit more about real estate, where we are, what's going on in the market right now, and what you really want to keep your eyes out for as far as potential deals in your market area that you want to be buying. So first of all, due to COVID right now, if you guys have not seen it, I just posted a video all about COVID-19 versus the Spanish flu and are we going into the next Great Depression? So check out that video. The link is up above. In that video, I did talk about potential real estate effects, right? We have had polls that were done in August. 25% of the people were not able to pay their rent or their mortgage. That number increased in September to 30%. The month of September of 2020, there were 20 to 28 million people due to be evicted out of the homes that they were living in. Now that can be a traumatic event in itself. And if you are a homeowner and you are looking at foreclosure, that is also something that can be quite scary. And it can happen in some cases very, very quickly, or it can take a little bit of time. Now, I am not a foreclosure expert or a credit repair person expert, but I will put the link down below to the data that I did find all about foreclosures in the US and a little bit more about the timing about it. So anytime that you do not make a payment on your mortgage, you are basically in default. Now, this does happen to some people, you know, they get behind, they miss a paycheck, they miss a payment of their mortgage. And honestly, the mortgage companies don't really do anything with 1 month. They're looking more for those repeat offenders where it's usually 3 months, 90 days is really that time at which they might start looking at your file to go forward with potentially contacting you as far as going into foreclosure. So that's usually maybe like a 3 to 6 month leeway, because as it also happens, it's going to happen more and more and more, and that's going to be more on the shoulders of the mortgage companies to go forward with that foreclosure process. Now, I do have my little notebook here because I don't want to mess up the types of foreclosures. So there are two types of foreclosures. There's the power of sale, and there's also a judicial foreclosure. Judicial foreclosure is basically going to be exactly what it sounds like. This is a foreclosure that has to go through a court. And everybody, all members that are part of the foreclosure do have to be notified before the house could actually be foreclosed upon. Sometimes with the judicial or the court notification to the owner that is in default of the mortgage, this can take sometimes up to a year for it to actually go to foreclosure. Now, something I found out about the judicial foreclosure, a little trick if you are in absolute dire scenario, you cannot deal with losing your house, is there is a little loophole. Now, I'm not a credit expert or a lawyer or an accountant, so please talk to them before you do this. But what I found out is potentially the night before the foreclosure sale, you could file Chapter 13 bankruptcy and be able to live in your house while you pay off the debt that you owe still on your mortgage. So any of the back mortgage payments that you were missing, you would have time while you're living there to pay them back. So that's kind of cool. The other type of foreclosure is going to be a power of sale. So I'm going to read it because I don't want to mess it up. And it's also going to be in that website that I put below. So this can take usually 2 to 3 months, and it's the deed of trust of your mortgage is being held by a trustee. And that trustee then has the right to basically call forward the note on the property at any time. And if you are in default of that agreement for the mortgage, they have the right to go ahead and sell it quickly. So they file a notice of a foreclosure sale, and then they can go ahead and sell it. And this way is a bit faster. It does take place in 23 states, I counted. So if you're in one of the 23 states, I will put them down below as well. Check that out to see, because it can be very, very scary for sure for anybody that's going through this. And I think we're really going to see this a lot more over the next year. But remember, this does take time. If it's a judicial sale, remember, you're adding 3 to 6 months and then an additional year for that judicial process. So it can be anywhere from 15 to 18 months for that foreclosure to happen. If it is a power of sale, then that could be taken over by the trustee and the foreclosures could happen much more quickly. Many people also know this as a short sale. Now, we saw this happening many times in 2007, 2008, all of these properties popped up. So right now it's more of a buyer's market in certain real estate markets. Some areas are already starting to see foreclosures. I know that I would love to buy a place down in Orlando to take my kids down there to go and visit the theme parks, but I'm waiting. I'm being patient. The market will likely end up with many more properties. And as the basic supply and demand happens, if there's a large supply, naturally the prices will drop. The short sale happens when a homeowner is already going through that year-long foreclosure process and they're trying to sell it before it goes to that final foreclosure sale. So they have the ability to sell their house as a short sale that would cover that debt that they were owing on their mortgage. Now, if somebody bought their house at the peak of a real estate market and now they're trying to sell it, it might not sell at a short sale price if they didn't have a lot of equity in their property. So some things to think about if you are looking at short sales. So to recap, if you're thinking about investing in real estate in 2021, right now, many homes have not been foreclosed upon, or the people are not being allowed to be evicted out of from Trump's orders. However, some are still occurring, up to 28 million for September of 2020. In my opinion, these numbers are only going to be going up because the unemployment rates will likely go up, as well as the COVID second wave could be even worse than the first wave. I know we're just entering it up here in Canada. So it might be roughly 13 to 15 months because we've started to see some of that activity already happening. So potentially next August, September, maybe to next December would be potentially that peak time. Not a lot of people want to buy, but there might be a lot of homes going on the market. Maybe the snowbirds down in Florida, if it's an area that time gets pretty hot, it might be different. So keep that in mind with your real estate investing for 2021. You might see a lot of great deals happening in the fourth quarter of 2021. Now, stay tuned as well if any of you out there are also stock traders. Stay tuned for my next video that will be coming up in just a couple days, all about my opinion on Ross Cameron and warrior trading. I was in his room at one point in time, so I will give you my review. As always, have an amazing day. Carpe Profit, seize those profits one trade at a time. And if you ever want to reach out to me, you can put it in the comments below. I will answer your questions, as well as you can email me at jane@cjanetrade.